Hello.
Hello.
Do you know that that you don't have to believe anything you hear me say?
You told us that.
That you don't have to accept anything you hear me say. You don't have to welcome anything you hear me say. Okay? Some of the things I say, you're going to find hard to believe. Some of it's going to be hard to believe. Some of it's going to be hard to believe.
Yes.
Some of it's going to be hard to believe. And some of it might startle you. Okay, and do you know that you're not asked to judge the ideas? That nobody's asking you to judge the ideas? The Course in Miracles teaches that it's the use of the ideas that will give them meaning to you and will show you that they're true. So it's the use. You mean actually applying it? The actual application is what does it? What a radical concept. And then it says in lesson 16, which is today's lesson, to me it has one of the most key phrases in there. And I'll share a little bit of it with you before I finish up the section we were covering about the rules for decision and having a brand new beginning. The name of this lesson is I Have No Neutral Thoughts. I have no neutral thoughts. And it says, this idea for today is a beginning step in dispelling the belief that your thoughts have no effect. So the purpose of this idea is to get rid of the belief that your thoughts don't have some kind of result. I say it again. The idea for today says that's a beginning step in getting rid of the belief that your thoughts don't have effect. Everything you see is the result of your thoughts. Everything you see is the result of your thoughts. Everything you see is the result of your thoughts. Everything you see is the result of your thoughts. Everything you see is the result of your thoughts. Did I say everything you see is the result of your thoughts?
Yeah, everything.
Everything. Does that mean anything you see is the result of your thoughts? Anything that last relationship, was that the result of your thoughts?
Oh, yeah.
Your money situation, is that the result of your thoughts?
Yeah.
Your health situation, your emotional state right now, is that the result? Did it say everything? And then to make sure that we got it, what I like about the Course in Miracles is to make sure that we got it, right after that it says, there is no exception to this fact. In case you're wondering, there is no situation that you see that you did not see the way that you see it as the result of your thoughts. It says, thoughts are not big. Thoughts are not big or little. Thoughts are not, you don't have a big thought and a little thought. It says that thoughts, they're not powerful thoughts and then weak thoughts. They're not powerful thoughts or weak thoughts. They're not big thoughts or little thoughts. There are just what kind of thoughts? Thoughts that are true and thoughts that are false. So every thought is true or false. Every thought you have is true or false, but every thought you have is creating everything you see, and every thought you have is either true or false, not big or little or bad or good. It's true or false. Interesting.
Yeah.
Then it says, those that are true create their own likeness. So a true thought creates a likeness of itself. And those that are false thoughts have their appearance. So false thoughts have their appearance and true thoughts have their appearance. True thoughts have their appearance, false thoughts have their appearance. Now that one little paragraph was totally loaded. And I'll just say it one more time. Telling yourself that you have no neutral thoughts, that's the first step in dispelling the belief that your thoughts don't have any power. So we got to get rid of that idea that our thoughts don't have power. You got to get rid of the idea that your thoughts do not have power. And then it goes on to say, everything you see is the result of your thoughts. Everything you see is the result of your thoughts, and there is no exception to it. And there are no big thoughts or little thoughts or powerful thoughts or weak thoughts. There are only true or false thoughts. And true thoughts make true stuff, and false thoughts makes false stuff.
Yeah.
So now that you understand that, then it goes on to say, so every thought you have contributes to the truth, or every thought you have contributes to the illusion. Every thought you have is either extending the truth, or every thought you have is extending the false. Every thought you have is either extending love, or every thought you have is either extending fear. Everybody clear about that? Okay, you don't have to agree, but did you understand what I said?
Yes.
Okay. Then it goes on to say that your thoughts are never idle. And it's impossible for you to have a neutral result because you never have a neutral thought. I am neutral, but you won't have a neutral thought about me. I'm neutral, but you won't have a neutral thought about me. This book is neutral, but you won't have a neutral thought about it. You'll have either a thought that increases your peace about it, or a thought that increases your fear or conflict about it. Every thought you have, in other words, is making you feel better, or is making you feel worse. Every thought you have is either right now making you feel better, or it's making you feel worse.
No exception.
And and both of them are innocent, but one of them probably not as much fun. Okay, it's not that you're bad or anything like that because you have really crappy thoughts. It's just that they tend not to be as fun. Being with the person who is awakening, which is a person that chooses for love, only wants love, only wants to know love, only wants peace, only wants freedom, that person is going to be a lot better date than the person who's afraid, and the person who wants to possess, and the person who wants to limit, and the person who wants to control, and the person who's insecure, and the person who's jealous. I mean, it must have some other outstanding qualities to make you overlook that. I can't imagine what it is that you would be enjoying. Can you imagine what could make you want to overlook a person's mind? What could you be doing with them? It'll make you want to overlook their consciousness. Okay, I don't know. Maybe somebody can tell me. I have no idea why you would want to. Anyway, sometimes I think about in the past what the butt made me do. Overlook minds for butts. You ever did that? But you did it in your own way? Of course you have. Don't look at me like I'm talking something strange. Every one of y'all know that you've done that in your life, that you've had something about a person that made you overlook their consciousness because it was something else you thought you were receiving that was more valuable than them. All of us are just alike. We're not going to enjoy ourselves until we understand that whether you ever admit it or not, we know, everybody here knows that you have a crappy side. That you got a side that's not loving, that's selfish, that's angry, that's jealous, that's insecure, that wants to get, that wants to. Everybody in here got that side. Now, you might be in various degrees of denial about it, but that's okay. Your world will show you where you lying to yourself because you'll be meeting all of your own stuff looking like it's coming to you from other people, but it's the stuff that's true about you that you're not ready to admit to yourself yet. So it comes to you in the forms of people who give you a hard time, who you criticize, who you judge, who you think are not enough. That's your own subconscious thoughts that you're seeing reflected back to you through your own world, and and those thoughts will either make you feel good or make you feel bad. So when you wake up to who you are, you must realize that the thoughts you've been putting out still going to come back to you, and when they do, you need to have a new way of relating to them when they show up. So by the time something comes back to me that I put out there in my consciousness, I want to be on a level of consciousness that I look at it with innocence, I look at it with love, I won't use it to judge myself, I won't use it to criticize myself, and I keep on loving everybody around me.
Yeah.
See, I'm trying to develop new responses to the things I think and have thought in the past that were loving, that may show up in my life as my physical reality because I didn't always feel good. I don't always feel good now. That's why I don't expect everything to go right all the time. If it's a reflection of my consciousness and I don't feel total peace, how in the heck am I going to have a day of total peace? So I don't put unrealistic expectations on the people around me because I don't know how to love unconditionally yet, so I know you don't. So I can be gentle with you when you screw up. You can be forgiving of me when I make a mistake because we both know we're learners. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Don't expect people to have qualities you don't have. Isn't that disappointing? Because I'm always looking for somebody that's got something that I don't have. I call it someone who's supposed to compliment me, fill in the gaps that I have. So I'm looking for that perfect opposite match. That when together we'll be complete. Yeah, completely crazy. Okay. You're whole and completely crazy. The whole new meaning of whole and complete. Yeah, you're scared. The Course says, you know, the minute that you decide that the answer to anything is outside of your own mind, you have effectively in that instant gone totally insane. That's what it says. You are now certifiably insane. Because now you think that something that's happening in your life and how you're feeling about it is being caused by something outside of yourself. And he says, you're still innocent, you're still cute, you're still powerful, and it's okay, but you're crazy. Okay, just want to let you know, you're not guilty, you're just crazy. I went, oh, I think that's a compliment. You know, it's kind of questionable. But the truth is going to upset you sometimes. I'm sorry, you just want to get off the whole spiritual path if you think you're going to feel good the whole time you own it. Because you won't. Because you'll be hearing some things that's the total opposite of what you believe is true. And sometimes that upsets us because we've already decided what the truth is. And so when we receive the truth, we get upset because it's not the way we figured out it should be in the very beginning. You see what I'm saying? If you've already made up your mind what the answer is, and then God gives you the answer, then you're going to feel confused and angry, and you're going to feel resistance because you're not being told what you made up the answer to be for yourself. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm feeling kind of upset right now.
Okay.
I'm feeling resistance.
Okay.
Because I've made it, well, I've known this for a while, but I denied it, and so now I've accepted this truth that there is this woman that I'm obsessive and clingy and needy towards.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out that I have feelings for her. But, okay, the bad part about it is she's married. And so I feel horrible about it. I feel like evil about that. So like you're saying I'm spirit and saying, oh, and I'm like,
that's why you need to hear it more than ever. Because you're thinking something that's not true about yourself. There's only two things that's ever happening in the world all the time, and that's either love or the call for love. And you're just calling for love. That's what you're doing first and foremost. You're just calling for love. The part of you that doesn't believe you deserve love makes you seek in a place where it's not located because you're afraid of it. So what better way to make sure you never have the intimacy that you say you want to have than to want somebody that's not available, and then say you're being denied what you want, but the truth is you're really afraid of it. And when you're afraid of something, you create obstacles to having it, and then you claim it's too hard to get, but the truth is you're afraid of it. So anything that's very difficult to achieve is something that you're afraid to achieve. And so your willingness to say the details about what you were feeling, to me, I cannot tell you how much it moved my heart and soul, because it meant to me that you trusted us. It meant to me that you trusted me. You know, because most people, you know, they sit up in classes like that, including me, they ain't gonna say what you just said. We hide all that stuff that we do that's just like you. And then we judge the other people who have that quality so that we won't feel so guilty about what we do. So, you know, I'm going to make myself feel better by making you the worst one. It's the oldest game for raising self-esteem that doesn't work in the world, which is I'll put you down so I can feel good. I'll criticize you. So what I'm saying is this. From a Course in Miracles perspective, what you're doing is calling for love, and in terms of what it is you say you truly want, it would be better to seek it where it's located because you'll have a better chance of finding it. That's just a weird thought I have. That if you look where something is, that's where you might find it. So, what you're trying to achieve with her is guilt. And so she's a means to make you feel guilty. How do you know that's true? Because that's the way you feel. So the truth is, she's neutral, the situation is neutral, but you're either making yourself feel guilty about it or you're making yourself feel innocent about it. But the mere fact that you could even say that you were feeling it at all means that you already feel innocent and you're ready to let it go. But you never would have said that in front of the whole class. Really. And when we get ready to let go of our stuff, we'll get as open as you are. So I want to acknowledge your bravery and your trust of all of us to really share something like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, your willingness to communicate, that is the healing. And then you have to then ask yourself, you know, what do I truly want? what do I truly, truly, truly want? Is this what I truly want? Do I really want? And I like it though, because it's like forcing you to look within, which is always good. You know what I'm saying? And then one of the things I learned from the course that may not work for everybody, but it's worked really well for me, is I stopped making choices based on good and bad, right and wrong. And I started making choices based on what gives me the most peace and the most peace to everyone around me as far as I can see. In other words, is this going to give me peace? And you know immediately, because your body is your communication device. It was what was given us from God to allow us to know what's truly going on in our environment so that we can make right choices. You with me? That's really what the body's for. Somewhere along the line, it became the goal. It's just like wanting to go out with your lawnmower. That's the way it is when you get fixated on the body. It's like trying to go out with your lawnmower. That wasn't what your body was made for. Your body was made to be a medium of communication and love to help you wake up to who you really are and relate to this plane. And also, every now and then, you can get some good loving through it. But it never was meant to be the goal. But in this world, it's the goal. Mm-hmm. You know, so ask yourself, just so you ask yourself those questions. What do I truly want? Decide for me, Holy Spirit. What would be another way to look at this? I really want to know my innocence instead of guilt. And then let the Holy Spirit and the truth within you advise you what to do next. Because I trust the voice for God in you. And what I want to do is be a means for you to recognize that all the answers are already within you. You know what I mean? Yeah. But if it was me, I'd just be looking over my shoulder. She's married. I'll be saying my Course in Miracles lesson and going. Yeah. But I can remember having an affair that kept my marriage together for years. Sometimes having relationships with people outside the relationship that you're in helps you be able to stand being in the one that you're in. But people don't like to say that because it just freaks them out when you're that straight up. Because people, you know, it's funny because it's like most of my grievances are always based on people doing something that I've already done so myself, but now I'm blaming them like they've never done it. So that's the game that we play all the time. You know, I'm mad at you and I can't never forgive you for what? Well, you didn't keep your word. Oh, you kept your word every time you've made your word your whole life? No, but that's different. See, you didn't keep your word about this, but I didn't keep my word about that.
You bet.
You understand what I'm saying? So we make the flavor of the cake different and say it's not cake. Oh, it's strawberry, but it's not real cake. It's carrot cake. It's not real cake. It's chocolate cake, see? But I'm condemning you for carrot cake thoughts, but these chocolate cake thoughts I have. But so what I'm telling you is that sometimes you can form relationships with people that are so powerful and so loving that you don't give a hoot about the world's rules, what looks like is right or wrong, what looks like is faithful or unfaithful, and you're going to do what you want to do, and you're going to move on that, and you're going to act on that, and in the end, you're innocent. But you want to ask yourself, is this really giving me peace? Truly peace, because you don't really know what's best for anybody. You don't know what's best for the person that you're in a relationship with. You don't know what's best for the person that seems like they're being cheated on. You don't know what's best for nobody. So therefore, you can't honestly say that whatever you're doing is somehow benefiting everybody involved, whether they like it or not. We don't even know that, but we try to pretend we do. So we judge everything because we're trying to convince ourselves that we understand what's going on, because it's too frightening to adults to admit they don't know nothing. That's the definition of an adult, pretending you know more than you do. Yes. And then get the Social Security card and driver's license and apartment wherever you live. So when the truth comes at you, then what people get upset about is what would they feel like if it was done to them, and they're trying to trust that the person that they're in a relationship with would never have an affair or do anything outside of anybody else with anybody else. And the truth is they're trying to make themselves safe through inappropriate means, because you can never make yourself safe by trying to control the behavior of somebody else so that you'll feel good. It's a fruitless attempt anyway. So to even set your peace up based on whether I do something or don't do something with somebody else is fooling yourself, because your peace comes from within. It doesn't come from what anybody else does or does not do. But you make that realization, my peace comes from me, not on whether or not this person has an affair, and then you choose for yourself, well, is that acceptable to me, is that unacceptable to me, does that fit my goal to be in that kind of relationship or not fit my goal to be in that kind of relationship, and then you make your decision accordingly. Does that make sense to everybody? But anytime you make anything about your peace depending on what somebody else does or not do, you are taking yourself away from the truth and not toward the truth. You're weakening yourself, and you might, I don't care how justified you feel, you're still making your power dependent on somebody else's behavior, which will always weaken you. Always. There is no good time to depend on somebody else for your happiness. There is no proper time to depend on somebody else for your happiness, which is a radical concept considering the fact that we're in a world that's constantly convincing us all the time that our happiness comes from everything but us. Our hair, how it looks, our toenails, our house, our car, our flat screen, how many people we know, how many Facebook friends we got. And I got 1,500. The Facebook friend race.
I don't have any.
That's right. Well, you have lots of friends.
Oh,
You do.
thanks,
You
baby.
do. But you know what's so cool? My Facebook friends are cool. I just check through there and I look at their. It's funny. It's a perfect example of like attracting like. Because when I go through my Facebook friend list, they all have very similar interests to me. The very same things that they're into. So all of my news feeds from Facebook all day long, I swear, they're nothing but positive statements of some type. Don't forget you're the most powerful person. You're the total love of God. You are always innocent. That's all my Facebook friends send to me all day long and to each other. Our news feed is ridiculously positive. I love it. I love it. I love knowing that all I have to do is be what I want to have it. I just need to, whatever you say you want, be it, and you will then attract it, you will have it, you will manifest it. That's the key to having what you want. You have to stop wanting what you aren't.
You sound like Gandhi.
Oh, no. No, Gandhi's cool. It's just that most of the time, people who always try to be for good and peace get wiped out.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to be seen as too nice. So I'm not a nice teacher. I know Gandhi. All right? We kill the people here very quickly who treat us the best. Jesus didn't exactly have an easy time up for healing people by the thousands either. That's why I didn't want to follow Jesus for a long time. When I was a kid, it was like, I really want to be seen cool, Jesus. I really want to follow you, but your follow was called hell. And you did too. I don't know if I feel like having some nails driven through my hands and feet in order to, go to another spiritual level of consciousness. But I realize I know people who've gone through worse crucifixions than that. There are people who've experienced a heck of a lot less than nails going through their feet and hands. They've experienced losing hands, feet, and all kind of stuff. I really realized that Jesus really didn't go through nothing that the average person doesn't go through a lot of times in a lifetime. I bet you've been in situations of excruciating pain where it looked like you were being crucified by something or somebody around you beyond what anybody around you could even imagine. It's a trip when you wake up though and you realize the hammer is in your own hand. Hello? It's a trip when you realize the hammer is in your own hand.
We heard you, but I didn't
that
want
you
it.
are the one crucifying yourself. That's right. I need to tell a joke and dance, don't I? That's how black folk make it. We dance. Tell jokes. It works. So let's go to the new beginning. So brother, ask. And I'm so glad you said that because you probably brought up a lot of folks' stuff. I'm sure I have something that I've seen. And that's what I'm here for. I kind of want to do that. I kind of want something to come to the truth that shakes us all up, wakes us up, makes us go, Because if you set it up where a person's behavior has to be a certain way for you to be peaceful, you pretty much guaranteeing that they're going to do something that's going to make you have to learn the lesson that your happiness doesn't depend on them. So you're setting your own self up, but you blame them. You say, I want to know the truth. I want to practice the truth in my life. Oh, okay, the truth is everything you see is the result of your thoughts, and everything that's happening to you is coming from your own mind. So if you say you want the truth, then everything that's not the truth, you want it to be revealed. So whatever isn't love, you're going to have to see. Whatever isn't real, I'm going to have to see. Whatever it is I used to block myself, I'm going to have to see, because I've said I want the truth, which is different from saying I want a car. That's why visualization can work, but you still remain very ignorant of what's creating your reality. You can visualize a car, but your consciousness is going to determine whether or not you enjoy the car or you crucify yourself with the car. You can manifest the house, but if you hate yourself, your house is going to need lots of repairs. Because your house is going to reflect your consciousness. Everything in your life, everything here is alive. There's nothing here that's not alive. There's no such thing really as an inanimate object. It's all consciousness. It's all mind. Whoa. 626. Any questions about anything I rambled on about? What did y'all think of his sharing? What would y'all like to say to him?
I was trying to think of all the affairs I'd had.
You lost count?
Huh? Yeah. Oh,
I got your Rolodex or something.
yeah, I know you do.
Yeah. Okay, is there anybody in here that's ever had an affair? Raise their hand. Pretty much, we should say who didn't raise their hand. It would have been easier. All right, so look, everybody around you has had what's been perceived by the world as an affair. So everybody that raised their hands just forgave themselves. They don't even realize it. What they just did was released grievances that blocks them from having relationships that bring them peace, because they didn't hide what was perceived as their sin or guilt, and then that dissipates it. And you also feel more innocent because you recognize you aren't the only one, because the guilt comes from thinking you're the only one. You're feeling bad like you're the only one that's had a desire for someone else that seemed like they was in another relationship with somebody else. That's very common. As a matter of fact, ask yourself this question, brother. If we're moving on the path of oneness, where we recognize we're all the same and we're all connected and we're all one, do you think as you proceed along the spiritual path that your love will become more limited, or do you think your love and attractions will become greater?
Greater.
Right, and that's what freaks people out on the spiritual path, because the one holy grail area that we have is the way we do special love. So the idea that somebody else could love somebody else beside you is the scariest thought that the separated mind ever gives itself. So so I warn any of you, if you proceed on the path of loving everyone, you will. Which isn't the same as saying having sex with everyone. There's too many. You can't keep up. Besides, who really wants to have sex with everybody? I would think you have a little bit of a problem. It's not like one body is going to have something really that different from what another body has. As far as I can see, all the body parts seem to be very common to most bodies. But it just seems like you're doing something different when you're doing it with somebody else, even though you're doing the same thing with the same parts. Why? Because of the meaning you give each person. That's the only thing that makes people different, is the meaning you give them. That's why one person turns you on, another person turns you off. They're just both neutral. They're both just people. So why is it that one turns you on and the other one doesn't? Because of the thoughts you project on this one and the thoughts you project on that one. This one meets some kind of a fantasy you have about what you think you need to be turned on by, and this one doesn't. That's the only difference, is your own mind. You can enjoy all people equally, actually, when you wake up. And think about it, that's great. That means you can be in bliss wherever you are with whoever you are. So you wouldn't be one place wishing you were somewhere else with somebody else who was somewhere else. That sounds like that's not a lot of fun. It'd be better to have total bliss and joy wherever you are with whoever you with. If you can't be with the one you love the one you with. That's from the book of ACIM. I quote them quite often in my class. That's the scariest thought you could ever say to a person who doesn't know what real love is. And I'm saying scary thoughts to people who are afraid of loss. And I know I am, and I'm doing it on purpose so I can shake myself up so I can continue to grow, and there are people here that want to be shook up so they can be ready to grow, and then this year becomes a more powerful year for all of us. So yeah, we need to get out of our comfort zones. Yeah, we need to get edgy. I'm either gonna, I need to be a means to wake you up or put you to sleep. Either way it go, I'm safe. Somebody that doesn't love me or understands me, go to sleep around me, I'm safe. Somebody that loves me and understands me and wakes up, I'm having fun. So either I'm having fun or I'm looking at somebody who's harmless because they're asleep. So what do you do when somebody's asleep? You don't hit them with a skillet. You leave them alone and let them rest in peace. So all the people around you who are unconscious of their spiritual identity, they're dead and asleep. Not bad. They're lost in the illusion of their roles. And they want to be, because they want to have an experience of that. And you have to love them enough to let them have the experience that they've chosen for themselves, even if it's not an experience you would choose for yourself. And that's how you know you're waking up. You leave people alone. You let people be. You support them in who they are. You don't expect them to be what you want them to be. You let go of your agenda. You take away your getting mechanism. And you realize that if you really want to have it, just be it, and it'll show up, and it will be giving itself to you, begging you to take it. That's the truth. That's good news, actually.
Come on, don't y'all want it?
You can tell they do. No, it's okay. Any response you have is okay. There's not an inappropriate response. But I'm trying to change my perception of love and relationships, and that's why I'm talking like this, because I need to learn it. See what I mean? I'm tired of doing stuff the same way. I'm tired of going through the same thing with different people, but just the same friggin' cycle. I'm sick of it. Some people not. They want to try it a whole lot more. I'm sick of it. The way the world does love, the way the world does relationships, the way the world does what success is supposed to be and happiness is supposed to be, and judging myself by my wealth and how I look and who likes me and who I can influence and whether I'm on Oprah or not. That stuff is tiresome. I'm sick of it. Coming up in my mind with somebody I think is going to make me happy. If they act the way that I want them to act, and I get it, fall in love with them, and then I try to trap them and possess them and gel them, and then I wonder why they want to leave. I want to have my freedom, but I want them to have their freedom. I want them to put me first, but I don't put them first. I want them to think about me, but I don't think about them. I'm thinking about myself and how they can think about me. And then I wonder why my relationships don't work. Or I wonder why I'm not happy. I get up every day, you get up every day, you do what you don't want to do around people that you don't even like, and then you wonder why you're not having a good time. You're being taught that everything that happened to you is based on somebody else liking you or approving of you or passing some test in the world or the economy or global warming or whatever Obama does. That's depressing. Your happiness doesn't come from any of those things. Your happiness comes from your consciousness. When you change your mind, your reality will change around you. Everything you want can come to you by right of consciousness. And consciousness just simply means the level that you interpret your experience at. What is the level you interpret it at? In other words, is it just a bunch of separate people sitting here in the room? That would be your level of consciousness. Or is it a bunch of divine beings who are all one, trying to wake up to who they really are and know what love really is again? Then that's your level of consciousness. You see what I'm saying? Your level of interpretation determines the kind of people that show up in your life. So I'm assuming that each and every one of you deserve to be happy whether you think so or not. I'm assuming that all of you are powerful whether you think so or not. I'm assuming that you all create your reality whether you think so or not. It doesn't matter whether you think so or not. I'm going to tune into the part of you that's wherever I choose to concentrate on. You're just like a radio with a lot of stations in it. And I can tune in on station, love, or I can tune in on station blame. But it depends on where I am on the dial, and it's digital. You see, so depending on what you want out of me, that's what you experience out of me. That's why different people experience different things with me. Some people are with me and they love being with me. It's great. Some people, they don't want to see me coming. That's because they're tuning into that part of me and them that doesn't want to see each other coming. That's why you don't act the same way with everybody. Because different people are asking for different sides of you to come out, and they pull it right out. As soon as you're with them, they see it, and you see it. And sometimes you freak out when there's some people you could be feeling so good, as soon as you see them, you get mad. You could be feeling great, and all of a sudden you see them and you get depressed. That's because that's the channel you're tuning in yourself. They're triggering that depression that's already in you that you're not owning that you have. So they're making you aware of feelings that you have that you didn't even know you had. That's why people don't want to get in relationships sometimes, because it's hard to hide in a relationship. Because you're looking at the person who is the absolute mirror of your deepest beliefs about yourself. Who is the person that represents the deepest core beliefs you have about yourself? Who is the person you're most intimate with? And who is the person you spend the most time with? And who do you focus your attention on the most? That's your consciousness. I don't care how many books you read. I don't care how much you can meditate in yoga or run or whatever. Whoever you want to be closest to, that's who you're most attracted to, what you're most attracted to in yourself. You attract relationships that perfectly fit your pattern. That's what you call I'm attracted to you. You meet my pattern. That sounds like a game show. You meet my pattern. We got 3 people here that you can go crazy with. We got 3 people here you can wake up with. What you gonna choose? Number A or B or C? But we want you to know that anyone you choose, you're gonna have the same experience with. So which one do you like their shoes the most?
What if you're isolating?
Well, if you're isolating, you're just taking a vacation. I isolate to take vacations too. Don't have no relationships with nobody, then I don't have to look at nothing about myself I don't like for a while. I cool out and chill, go to the park. I'm not pushing none of my buttons. I can just sit back and, I feel so good. I'm not in any kind of intimate relationship with anybody that's pushing any of my buttons. I think I stay out of a relationship for several months. Now I'm ready to look at myself again. She's by the duck pond. I'm headed over there for my next lesson. My name is Earl. And you are my next pattern. And I've rested. I've had about a year without any kind of relationships. I've built up my self-esteem. I think I have no problems whatsoever, that I'm a totally loving person. Nobody's reflected back to me anything but that, because I just see people when I want to, and when I'm not feeling good, I'm not around them. When I'm around them, I'm feeling good. They just see me as a loving person all the time, because they don't see me when I'm a lunatic and a maniac, so they're going to love me and think that I'm that way all the time. Okay, now I'm ready to take a look at some of my stuff, so let's have a relationship with somebody. So I can now look at what needs to be released within myself again. And if you're really loving yourself a lot, you get a lot of opportunities, which would be in the form of a lot of people wanting to have relationships with you. So you just don't know which one to pick. Oh, I don't know who to pick for my particular patterns. I got so many choices. That gives you a whole new perception of dating, doesn't it?
God, yes.
Because that's what you're doing. You're like, okay, here I am. I'm ready to forgive now. Who am I going to be attracted to? The person that I got the most subconscious grievances toward. Yes, that's right. How else am I going to learn forgiveness unless I marry the person I hate? I'm going to make Valentine's Day cards. I'm working on this. I believe that's going to be my secret wealth. I know the truth is tough. The truth is tough, because you can only feel that kind of intensity towards someone that beneath that is a lot of love. Tons of love. If it wasn't something really going on there, why would I get so upset? There's something going on there.
Yeah, but what if you love yourself enough and you say, I really don't want to date. And now here I am going on 8 years very happy.
Well, I know, that's what I'm saying. As long as you're not dealing with somebody, you'll keep feeling that way. So I would invite you to keep doing what is working for you. But it doesn't mean necessarily that you dealt with all your issues.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And let me say this again. I want to be very clear with everybody. It's okay if you choose not to form a special relationship with another person, because you've already formed special relationships with many other things. That a special relationship isn't just a relationship with another person. A special relationship is anything that you have any kind of relationship with. It could be your car, your dog, whatever, that you would give your piece away about it. That's your idol. The thing that you would freak out if you didn't have, that's your idol. And so that freaks people out when they first hear that too. Because all of a sudden their idols pop up and they know exactly what they idol. They are everything they own. Everybody they think they love. And it's kind of like startling to realize that you've made all the things around you an idol, to the point that you would give your piece away if it wasn't there. Which is a surefire sign that you've forgotten the truth, because anybody that knows the truth knows there's no such thing as loss. So it's no way when you really begin to recognize the truth that you would feel pain about anything leaving your life, because you would know there is no such thing as loss. So if anything did leave, it was because it was the best thing that could have happened to you, and that there's something even better that's coming to in its place. So when you wake up, you're as happy when someone leaves as you are if they stay. You're as happy if you have that job or if you don't. You are as happy if you have that car or if it got totaled. Because you know whatever you need is going to be provided by God, by the universe, by love. So you have a whole different way that you're moving through life. You wouldn't, and you know some people treat you so good when they think that you would be happy without them. If they really feel like you have options, they tend to treat you better. And they appreciate you more. And you also won't take as much crap if you feel like you have options. If I haven't put all my eggs in your basket, I won't be so paranoid about what you do with your basket. And we know how fragile eggs are. And you put your eggs in somebody else's basket. And I do it all the time, in one form or another. But I'm not doing it as much as I used to. And that's what I'm happy about. I just don't do the stuff I used to do to myself as much as I used to, even though I still do them sometimes. And I'm proud of myself, and I feel good about that. And I love that I've gotten to the point that I can admit that there's fear in me sometime, or anger in me sometime, or grief in me sometimes. I remember when I was going through that stage of spiritual development where I pretended I loved everybody, and I pretended that I felt good all the time, no matter what. I felt like I had to say it. It's like I was so afraid to look at my stuff that I convinced myself it wasn't even there. And I used the truth to hide from myself the most. And I would say stuff like, I'm beyond that. I don't do that anymore. Other people do. And Spirit would say, well, why do you see it? I went, what? If you no longer have that thought, that particular part of you that's in existence, how could you see it in someone else unless you had something that equally resonates to it that allows you to see it? So if you want to transcend what you think of as negative feelings and emotions today, all you have to do is admit to yourself that you have them too. And that's your call for love, instead of pretending you don't. That's easy. And when I talk about people coming to you in relationship and reflecting things back to you, please don't take that to mean that they're always reflecting back to you your stuff. You can also have people that come into your life that completely witness to you how beautiful and how loving and how holy and how cool and how wonderful you are. You can have witnesses to the fact that you are one of the most loving people that ever walked this earth. If you don't have a relationship right now, stop telling yourself you're being denied one. Tell yourself that you've been afraid of it and you want help in the conditions that's bringing your fear about. And stop saying you want something that you're being denied, that you want something that the universe isn't giving you. Just say to yourself, it's not there because I don't want it to be there right now. I'm afraid to have it right now. There's something about it that I associate with loss right now. Or maybe I'm just in preparation right now. But don't tell yourself you want it and it's not showing up, because it keeps you not believing in your power to create.
That's good, thank you.
Yeah, it's like, the minute you start saying, this isn't happening, why? Because I don't want it to. Why did I not get that job I applied for? Because I didn't want that job I applied for. How come that marriage didn't last? Because I didn't want that to last. And it was my own best interest that it lasted as long as it did. It's just everything that happens, you go, yeah, that was the way I wanted it at some level, even though I don't even know how I wanted it that way, or how I made it that way, or why I see it that way. Every time you say something like that, you get a little stronger, and your belief in the power that you have to manifest in your life becomes a little stronger. But every time you say, I really want this, but it's not happening. I'm a really nice person, people don't treat me nice. That person left me, but I really wanted them to stay. I'm broke right now because of the economy. Every time you talk like the average human mind talks, you are increasing your belief in your weakness and therefore not getting in touch with your power as a creator. And it's better to start out by just admitting you are making the perceptions that you're having of everything in your life right now. Just admit it. You know, everything that's happening in my life right now, the way I'm seeing everything that's happening in my life right now, I am the one that's choosing to see it that way. That's all you have to do. You don't even have to believe it. You know why? Because it's the truth. That's what makes the truth so wonderful. You don't have to believe the truth because it's going to show you it's true whether you believe it or not. So that whole idea of having to believe the truth, you know what the beauty of believing? The beauty of believing is that it changes your ability to perceive. Your perceptions are your beliefs, but reality is beyond your belief, and reality is going to be the same whether you believe it or not. So you can get to the point that you can go, I'm going to love each and everybody in this room in the sense that I'm not going to interfere with your lives in any way. That is true love. True love is me saying to everybody in this room, I'm not going to interfere with you. You are free. Completely free. Now try saying that in a relationship and see how that flies. Oh, so you're saying that you want to treat total strangers better than you treat me. And that's the reward for your love. Because total strangers, you're letting total strangers do what they want to do with themselves. You're letting them do what they want to do with their life. You're letting them follow their heart. But me, the one you love, you want to be able to control me. So you'll get to the point that what you used to call love, you'll call fear. And what you used to call fear, you'll call love. And you seem crazy to people. Because you're doing what actually makes you happy. You go, anybody that wants to imprison me certainly couldn't love me. Oh, so you don't really love me. Oh, then if you don't really love me, there's no need for me to get emotionally involved. So you can't hurt me. But if I think you're loving me and mistreating me, I'll keep going back over and over and over again. Why? Because you said you love me. So you're doing me wrong now in my perception. I'm creating it, but it looks like you're doing it to me. But you just said you love me. So even though you just really criticized, judged me, limited me, threatened me, I'm going to come back and take some more because you said you love me. But what if I knew that that particular way of behaving is not love? Then I don't care what that person says. In that moment, I know there's no love happening. So what should I do? Condemn them? Judge them? No, I should supply the love by remembering that what they're doing is fear and then give them to God. And if God tells me to do something, then I'll do something. If God tells me to get in the car and gun it, then I'm going to do that. Gosh, we're so blessed. Would you acknowledge yourself for hearing this much? Would you do that? Yes, for hearing this much. Hey, you know what? Forgive yourself when you act crazy. Forgive yourself when you lose it. Because you're going to. Do you hear me?
Yes.
You're going to. You're not going to always be nice and sane and kind. You're not while you're learning how to do it. So loving yourself will be your ability to go like to do this. I'm angry. Wow, this is the best anger I've done. I have so much curiosity about my anger. Wow, I lost my temper. That was the best temper losing I've done in the last 10 years. Whoa, did I lose it last night? I'm going to try not to do that again. That's how you start talking to yourself when you love yourself. You don't pretend that you didn't feel that way. You go, whoa, I'm really making myself mad right now. God, I'm really making myself mad right now. And I'm really feeling the temptation to attack right now. I really want to attack. What should I do? Breathe. What? Breathe. You'll be amazed. Breathing will bring you back to sanity quicker. It will give you that 10 seconds you might need to reconsider something you're about to do that you're going to punish yourself about for years to come. Thank you for sharing with me. I do this full time, so I live off the donations from God through you. So thank you for sharing so much. Appreciate that. Okay.
Okay, in a relationship, two people being innocent, it seems like their wants and their needs aren't always going to line up. So we deprive ourselves?
No, from my understanding, it's not about you depriving yourself. It's about you remembering that you're responsible for your needs being met, and not the other person.
Right, I understand that.
Right, but so if two people have two different needs in a relationship, then it's up to each person to take care of their needs. Even if it's two people in a relationship, you're still not responsible for taking. That's the old paradigm. That's the paradigm of fear. Because it's not that it's bad or good, it just doesn't work. It puts unfair pressure on the other person, number one. Nobody's on this earth to fulfill your needs. We're here to share and to join and connect and to grow and to love. We're not here to fill each other's empty buckets. And so what happens a lot of times is that two empty people try to fill each other and they can't. And then they get mad at each other. And that's why you see so much conflict in relationships, because it's not two whole people coming together to share. It's two people thinking that they're lacking something, thinking that the other person is going to fulfill that need. And they can't. And so then you get the resentment, because nobody likes to be controlled. Nobody likes to be dominated in the sense that you're made to feel bad if you're not taking care of somebody else's needs. But if you're honest with yourself and the other person, and you say, you know what, I need some agreements, I need some boundaries, I need some rules in order for me to feel safe in this relationship, because that's where I am right now, because I'm being honest with where I am right now, and I'm not pretending that I'm at an unconditional love level yet. I may get there one day, but right now, I need you to be monogamous. If you're going to be in a relationship with me, right now, I need you to be in integrity about your word. Whatever. In other words, you want to be, see, one of the biggest challenges is seeing yourself as more advanced than you are, even though you're going to get there one day. So you don't listen to what I'm saying in terms of you're supposed to walk out of here today and be able to love everybody unconditionally. If you heard me correctly, you were hearing me say that all your feelings are innocent and you should feel okay about admitting what you're feeling on every level. See, we can do that, but if you walk out of here today thinking that you're supposed to be able to free everybody around you and you're going to be okay with that no matter what they do, then you're probably in for trauma. Okay? Because you probably have surrounded yourself with people who need lots of rules and agreements because you do. So you have to understand that it's set up the way it is because it's the best way for it to be set up for you right now. So none of us are supposed to walk out of here feeling like our life is not appropriate to our awakening. Really, the life that you're living right now is the fastest way for you to awaken. It's your life. So whatever you do when you walk out of here today, don't think that there's anything wrong with your life. There's nothing wrong with your life. Your life is set up to bring you to the awareness that you have God within you and love within you. So that's what I want to share. If you're hearing me correctly, you should be more tolerant of yourself today instead of beating yourself up. If you walk out of here beating yourself up, then you didn't hear me correctly, because all I said was accept yourself, allow yourself, surrender to who you really are, and you're innocent. And you do make mistakes, and I do make mistakes, but they're for correction and not punishment. So like, for instance, if you thought you had a particular need in a relationship, being authentic would be for you to speak that to that person as clearly as you can. Where I am right now, these are the agreements that I would need to be in this form of relationship with you. Is this something that you feel like of your own free will you would really like to do too, and you feel the same way? If they say no, and then you still go ahead and hook up with them, then you know you're responsible for any of the conflict and drama that you're going to go through because you weren't in any form of agreement when it started out. You know, so it's like we make relationships complex, but they don't have to be complex if you are authentic and you truly communicate. They're a real problem if you're not communicating honestly with each other about where you're coming from. It's a lot easier never to get in one that would be painful than it is to get in one and try to get out. You could ask a few questions and never take yourself on that trip. It just takes a few questions. You know, what do you want? What do you feel? Where do you want to go? What do you want to accomplish? How do you feel about love? What's your perception of God? How do you do relationships? How do you feel about the last person you were in a relationship with? What do you feel? What do you like? What do you love? How do you like to spend your time? What's important to you? Not from the level I'm judging you, but I just have enough knowledge of myself now to know what tends to flow with me and what doesn't. So therefore, I'm listening to you in terms of how can I join with you, and what areas can I join with you, and what areas can I do something different for both our sake. But if I get in a relationship with you and I'm saying you have to be my everything, then I'm asking you to fulfill every need that I might have for the rest of my life. That's a big request of another person. That's a big request that we make of other people. You know, you're going to be my experience of all females of the whole world for the rest of my life. I should have no other really close relationships with any other female but you. Then you got to be a hell of a good time. You can't be somebody that's fussing at me all the time, attacking me all the time, don't like me, don't feel passion toward me, we can't connect, and you're supposed to be my only focus. we're playing that game with each other, but we make those kind of unrealistic requests on each other. And when you begin to wake up, you realize, my God, if I was doing this right, that which was best for me would just naturally show up. I wouldn't have to coerce anybody into doing anything, because they would just come to me because that's the way I am myself. And most of all, because I'm not afraid to have it. If I'm not afraid to have it, there's no block to it manifesting. So please, if you hear me correctly, you should not feel like you're being denied what you want. You should feel like the door has been opened to you actually now having what you want by being honest with yourself right now. And it takes courage. It takes courage to tell people the truth about what you feel, because sometimes you feel like if you really tell people the truth, you'll lose them. Because there's been times in my life that I was really honest with somebody and it looked like I lost them. But I realize now that that was a blessing, that someone who could not accept me being authentic would choose to leave me. That is a beautiful thing that they did, so that they can open the space for the person in my life that could say to me, thank you for sharing your honest feelings with me, rather than you low down so-and-so, you didn't do what you said you were gonna do. That's not inspirational toward communicating. But if you do lose it, and you heard me correctly today, and you do lose it, you go, oh, that's my call for love. I gave it a good shot. That time I didn't pull it off. Next time they communicate, I'm gonna see if I can handle it better. That's what you do at your end. I'm telling you, if you don't want to feel innocent, don't come to this class. If you want condemnation and judgment, don't come to this class. If you want to hear that same old stuff you heard since you were a child everywhere, this is the wrong place. Because these classes are based on unconditional love. And a God that's unconditionally loved.
Thank you.
No matter how guilty, no matter how fearful you may feel. And for some people, that's going to make it look like I am the devil with the cloak of an angel. Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. Some people's guilt is so deeply ingrained that anyone that would recognize their innocence is seen as a deceiver and a cult leader. And that's okay. It's the love code. The appreciation code. Yeah. And Joy has a Course in Miracles class also.
I do.
Yeah.
Get up.
You can get up. It was good having you down there right on your knees. That was great.
Yeah, Tuesday nights from 7 to 8:30 at the Miracle Center. And you're all welcome. It's a real small group, so there's time to talk. And please come. Pardon me?
Okay.
The address?
It's 1939, is it South Monroe? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
South
Just south of
Monroe.
the freeway there.
All
Thank
right. You got it.
1939.
Okay. And before we go out, there's a thing that I'd like us to say together that's very powerful for those who want to. And I put all my classes on my website, earlpurdy.com, so you get a chance to listen back to this or even refer it to people. You can subscribe to them on YouTube, and every time I upload one, you get a link. The reason why I'm doing this is because support. We need to remember. We forget. And you'll go out of here and you'll go through what I call truth amnesia. You think you really heard me, and then you walk out of here and somebody says, what did he talk about in that class? You go, well, you just should have been there. That's all I can tell you. It was good. You just should have been there. Y'all know what I'm talking about? That kind of, yeah. Because when you're in here and we're talking like this, you're in one part of your mind that you're not normally operating from. And then when we leave, we go whoop, to our default setting. And so now we're back in our worldly mind, right? So you want to get to the point that your truth mind is your default setting. That no matter what happens, you default back to, you know what, I am as God created me and I am loved. That should be your default setting. And that's what I'm trying to help do. I'm trying to help that switch be switched. Ready?
How soon after you tape it do you put it on the website?
I try to do it within 48 hours. Yeah. Okay, you ready?
Ready.
Now, those who don't mind saying it with gusto and enthusiasm, would you say this with me? I am a creator of all that I think and see and experience. I am a creator of all that I think and see and experience. I am free always.
I am free always.
Nothing impinges upon me.
Nothing impinges upon me.
But the thoughts I have chosen to hold within. But the thoughts I have chosen to hold within. Nothing imprisons me. Nothing imprisons me but my own perception of imprisonment. But my own perception of imprisonment. Nothing limits me at any level. Nothing limits me at any level or dimension of experience. Or dimension of experience. Except that which I have chosen. Okay, then 30 seconds of this incredible chant that we're going to do together. It goes like this. I am free always, 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 I am free. Always. Give it up, mighty companions. I love you. 7 o'clock on Thursday night is my next class, and then Sunday at 1 o'clock. And may the course be with you.
7 o'clock here?
Yeah.